Let's now bring in Ambassador Jimmy Deng Makwach, the charge d'affaires at the South Sudanese, in charge of the South Sudanese embassy here in Nairobi. Welcome, Mr. Ambassador, to KTN.
Thank you for having me.
Right. Developments in South Sudan. Would you say that really this is a step forward in the implementation of the peace agreement?
Indeed, as a government, I think we are fully committed to the peace agreement that was signed between the government and the SPLM in opposition. Our president have demonstrated beyond the call of duty that peace must come to the Republic of South Sudan, and by this he has appointed his former vice president to assume his duty as the first vice president of the country once again after all this conflict.
Mr. Ambassador, why has this taken so long, 2 years since the conflict began in December 2013?
I think all the indications have been there. The government have tried its best to try and negotiate a compromise peace agreement. It has taken long because simply our brothers from the other side also have their own requirements and demands that the government has not been able to agree with. And the international community knows about this, the region knows about this. But we think our people have suffered enough alone that we think we have to end this war. And by that, I think we signed the peace agreement in 2015 because of the suffering of our people. And with that being said, I think the government is more committed. And it has demonstrated once again by the appointment of Dr. Riek Machar as the first vice president again.
The appointment of Riek Machar as vice president again is part of that deal which was agreed on in August 2015.
Yes.
So how committed is the government now?
Government is committed beyond the call of duty because we have been in the front line with the forces of Machar. And today we sat again on the round table through the initiative of the region, through the international community. We signed the peace agreement, a compromise peace agreement. And we are committed to implement the peace agreement. And that's why we have appointed Riek Machar as the first vice president. This is a demonstration that shows that we are committed to ending the suffering of our people.
Has Riek Machar officially agreed to these posts?
Well, we hope so, because the appointment came out yesterday. We are hoping that Riek Machar understand what our people have gone through. And as a result, and he has agreed to sign the peace agreement with our government, with our president. And as such appointment was in line or in accordance with the peace agreement. And therefore, he should gladly accept it and end the suffering of our people if he's really serious about the peace.
All right. And if indeed he does agree to that and officially announces that, when is he expected to make his way back to Juba?
It is our hope that Riek Machar will make his way to Juba as soon as possible, because we have to start the implementation of the peace agreement. It is called the compromise agreement. Our president have done everything in his power to make sure that Riek Machar comes back to Juba. His advanced teams are already in Juba, and they are updating him on a daily basis. With such appointment now, I don't think there should be any logical reason why he should exile himself again. I think he should just come back to the country. Let's work together and see how to mend the fences that has already been broken.
There's a history of mistrust between the two leaders. What assurances is President Salva Kiir giving that this agreement will work this time?
Without a doubt, I think appointing him in the first place, not rejecting him as the first vice president, this is a confident building between the two leaders that they can work together. The president has gone beyond the call of duty to say the country is bigger than an individual, and therefore let's end this conflict once and for all so our people can live in peace. This is an assurance to the international community and the region that the government of South Sudan is committed to the full implementation of the compromise peace agreement.
How much of a part did the pressure from the international community play in this latest development, especially threat of US sanctions by the United Nations?
Two things. A threat of sanctions is a different thing. It can help, it may not help. The threats of sanction in the situation in South Sudan will not help. Because when you threaten the two leaders to put sanction on them, the situation will not improve. On the other coin also, pressurizing two leaders to sign an agreement is a good thing because it will bring peace to the country, and it has done. It has brought peace in the country. But also this pressure must be, there has to be a limit to the external forces on how to pressurize these forces on how they can really bring genuine peace and lasting peace to the people of South Sudan. And therefore it is good to pressurize, but at the same time, let the initiative be carried on by the grassroots. I mean, the people who really want the peace themselves.
One of the contentious issues emanating from this conflict was the creation, or the agreement that was first broken was the creation of 28 new states. What is the latest on that?
Indeed, the creation of 28 is not a big issue, because even Riek Machar, after he rebelled, he created 21 states and appointed governors without a constitutional mandate. The creation of more states, not just only 28 states, is a popular demand of the people of South Sudan. They have been demanding even when we were fighting the Arabs. The conflict between the South and the North, we were demanding ourselves rights, and a popular demand was the creation of more states. I think this is an internal issue that can be resolved between Machar and the government of South Sudan. It should not be a big issue. Machar today can assume his duties as the first vice president and still work with the government hand in hand with our president to resolve the issue of the 28. And he created it. I mean, he went ahead to suggest 21 states. We say 28 states. So that should not be a problem. He should not let him to be in exile because the issue of the 28 has to be resolved. This is an internal issue that can be resolved internally.
It has been seen as a way of assuming more power by the two leaders. What is the rationale of new states? You say it's the mandate of the people of South Sudan want it. What is the rationale of the new states?
When we came out from Sudan, the 10 states were created actually by the regime in the north, by the Sudan government. The current 28 states is the demand of the people of South Sudan. As such, Riek himself suggested that we should have 21 states. The president have only added 7 out of the 21 that he suggested.
Right.
That should not be a problem.
Right.
And we think as South Sudanese, we should not let our people suffer longer simply because of disagreement about the creation of more states. If he needs more states, he should come back home. We will sit down, discuss it, and it should not be the problem that we should prolong the suffering of our people.
Right. Finally, Mr. Ambassador, this conflict has cost the lives of tens of South Sudanese. More than 2 million people have fled the country. What next now for South Sudan in terms of food security, peace? What next?
After this appointment of Dr. Riek Machar as the first vice president, the first thing we have to do as a country is to bring stability to our country. South Sudan is a country of many resources. We can unrest the current situation very easily. We need to bring peace to our people. We need each and everybody that is suffering now to be in peace. We need a collective effort of where we can build the country together. What we need is peace, and peace, and peace. And for us not to disagree and take them to the international stage whereby we can locally resolve our conflict. So I think the first thing we have to do is to elevate the suffering of our people and bring peace and stability to the country.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Ambassador.
Thank you.
Jimmy Deng Makwach, the charge d'affaires in charge of the South Sudanese embassy here in Nairobi.